Hello everyone! This is Saurian Target welcoming you to my review of Carnivores Dinosaur Hunt, the newest entry in the Carnivores franchise released on June 1st for Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One. Digital Dreams Entertainment were kind enough to send me a review copy of the game, so I want to thank them for that, and I've been playing Dinosaur Hunt non-stop as thoroughly as I can to bring you guys my thoughts on it. Now, I'm approaching this review from the perspective of a longtime Carnivores fan, and I'll be including the context of Carnivores HD and Reborn as well. So if you're looking for a totally unbiased and fresh opinion on the game, this may not be the review for you. Alright, so without further ado, let's review Dinosaur Hunt. Technically speaking, Dinosaur Hunt is the third release of what I'm going to refer to as the Carnivores reboot. A game that started back in 2013 with Carnivores Dinosaur Hunter HD on the PS3, then released again in 2015 as Carnivores Dinosaur Hunter Reborn on PC, and now in 2021 as Dinosaur Hunt on the Switch, PS4, and Xbox One, with the game set to release on Steam later this year for free to those who have already purchased Carnivores Reborn. If you know me, you know I view the Carnivores reboot in a mixed light. There are parts of it that I love and parts of it that I hate, but ultimately it's been such a disappointment because of all the wasted potential the game has. Today though, we're gonna see how Dinosaur Hunt compares to its previous two releases. Dinosaur Hunt's menu artwork and UI, I think, are a big improvement over the past two releases, going for a more ominous, frightening aesthetic, while remaining crisp and clean. It really gets you in the headspace of hunting gigantic, terrifying dinosaurs on an alien planet, and I love it. The past two menu aesthetics have been pretty bland and sterile, but this one is dark and bloody and very Carnivores. I dig it. The game is also gorgeous. When the first bit of early Switch gameplay came out about a week before the game's actual release, I was a little concerned with how it looked, but running it on my PS4, everything looked sharp and bright and colorful and just beautiful. That's always been a strength of the reboot, it's always looked great. I remember one time I was following an Ankylosaurus through the jungle towards a watering hole at dusk, and I just got so caught up and immersed in the moment. Stalking low through the ferns and the leaves with the sunset glimmering through the treetops, while the Anky's huge tail swung back and forth overhead. It looks fantastic, and I'm glad to have it just for the sake of having a gorgeous dinosaur game to play on this console. The game also handles great. Like I said, it looks beautiful on my PS4 and runs as smooth as butter at a near constant 60 FPS. Carnivores has never looked and felt this good to play. The only thing I don't love about how the game handles is the motion drift. Once you stop moving the analog stick to walk, your character keeps going for another half second before stopping. Like there's a delay between when you stop and when your character stops. This makes the game feel kind of floaty at times, and makes getting into position for a good shot more difficult than it needs to be. But hopefully that's just a bug that can be ironed out in a patch. The game's overall progression system has been shaken up a little bit. As you take down dinosaurs, you'll earn gems and score. Gems are still spent on new dinosaur licenses, weapons, and equipment, while score is still used to unlock new maps. Nothing new there. And while you'll unlock certain maps or dinosaurs or equipment in a different order than in the previous two releases, the big change comes from just how long it takes to unlock each item. Dinosaur Hunt is significantly more grindy than HD or Reborn. Everything from dinosaur licenses to weapons are much more expensive, there are more upgrades and perks and add-ons to spend your gems on, but you'll earn even more points than usual for how successfully you take down a dinosaur, so I think it balances out fairly well. I had unlocked everything in Carnivores HD and Reborn in about 6 to 8 hours over a couple of days of pretty casual playtime. But it took me about 4 days of pretty consistent play to unlock everything in Dinosaur Hunt, so it does feel like a longer game, which I think is a good thing, but could be good or bad depending on how much you enjoy what's in the game itself. I've watched some other reviewers and Let's Players on YouTube covering the game where everybody starts out excited because it's hunting dinosaurs, which, is fundamentally exciting. But once the novelty wears off and they feel the grind of shooting their 700th Stegosaurus with the same rifle in a row, most have noted how it gets to be a bit tedious. The game's hunting and gathering system has also been changed up compared to the previous two releases, but it's been changed for the worse, in my opinion. You now no longer receive any gems or score at all for downing a dinosaur you don't have a license for. This makes any new dinosaur encounter pretty uninteresting, since you'll be actively avoiding anything you don't have a license for, because interacting with a non-licensed dinosaur is literally just wasting ammunition. The Ankylosaurus scattered around Delphius Hills were a great way to break up the monotony of hunting stegosaurs over and over again. The Ankies were less common than the stegosaurs, and provided a good challenge to test your newfound skills on something you had to hunt a little bit differently. Now, until you unlock the Ankylosaurus license, which is more expensive by the way, the Ankies are useless, and the same goes for any new dinosaur you might encounter on a map. Even if players earn just half or even just a third of the gems and score for a non-licensed dinosaur, it would give us a reason to actually interact with them, or use different hunting tactics and just break up the monotony of hunting the exact same dinosaurs over and over again. Another negative change, in my opinion, is the fact that you actually have to bring back every single dinosaur you take down in order to get the gems and score to progress. Even if you walk up to the dinosaur and you get the little sound cue and little gem amount, unless you actually call in the retriever bot to collect it, you won't get any of those rewards. In my first hunt after the tutorial, I downed about 5 or 6 stegosaurs. Walked up and got the gems, but didn't collect any of them because they weren't that big and I didn't want them. And then evacuated and was surprised to see I didn't have any points. I honestly thought my game had glitched over the next couple of hunts until I finally tested it by taking down 2 stegosaurs and only collecting 1, and then seeing that I only got the score for the one I brought back. This change absolutely ruins the natural flow of a hunt, in my opinion. Personally, I like to use the crossbow to hunt because it's silent. I can take out a bunch of dinosaurs in an area without alerting any of them, then go stealthily collect my rewards and then move on. Now, however, I have to call in the retriever bot every single time if I want to make any progress. And since the retriever bot scares away nearby dinosaurs, I might as well be using the rifle or something else that's loud. What makes the change worse, in my opinion, is that there's now no option to delete trophies from the trophy room. You have to keep every single dinosaur you collect, and you have to collect every single dinosaur you take down. So you'll have to scroll through hundreds of useless trophies to find the dinosaur you want to actually display. I think we should either be able to pick the trophies we want to take back, or be able to delete them. Better yet, we should be able to do both, but we shouldn't be unable to do either. These choices are honestly kinda baffling to me. The older hunting-gathering system in Reborn was perfect. Take down a dinosaur, walk up to it and collect the rewards. If you want to take it back as a trophy, you can. If not, leave it. I have no idea why these changes were made in Dinosaur Hunt. They feel like a really unnecessary handicap that hinders how people play, and makes the game feel even more shallow. There are also a few smaller changes to the hunting and tracking mechanics. The option to hunt with lethal bullets has been completely removed. Players can now only hunt with tranquilizer darts. Personally, I'm not a big fan of this change. The dinosaurs used to have distinct animations for whether they were killed or put to sleep, but now they just go to sleep every time, even though they still play their death cries when doing so. It wouldn't even be that bad necessarily, but it's still the principle of the matter. And predatory dinosaurs can still eat any dinosaurs that you take down, and it's just a little silly to walk up to a peacefully sleeping dinosaur only to be told that you can't claim it because a carnivore ate it. Because lethals are no longer available, the dinosaurs no longer leave blood trails, which makes tracking wounded dinosaurs very difficult. I love that dinosaurs leave footprints to track, but I've lost so many wounded dinosaurs because they ran off with a group of others and I couldn't keep up with which one was mine. Even the Pathfinder perk doesn't display wounded footprints as red anymore like it did in HD and Reborn. Even if our mist device could identify the health of the dinosaur that left the track, that would help out a lot, but right now, tracking feels very dumbed down. I assume all these changes were made so that the game could appeal to a wider audience, but it'd be great if we could have the lethals and the blood back. This is a game where you get gored, impaled, and eaten after all. While the mist device does a good job of warning you when a dinosaur can see or hear you, it used to also warn you when a dinosaur could smell you. The wind indicator arrow at the bottom used to flash red when a dinosaur could smell you, and as far as I can tell, this feature has also been removed. I assume and I hope due to time restraints, but I'd love to see it added back in. You still have to rendezvous with the retriever bot in order to successfully evacuate a hunt, which is great, but you now only have to tap the evacuate button instead of hold it, which I'm not a big fan of personally. I can't tell you how many times I've accidentally summoned an evac because I accidentally tapped the button and scared off every dinosaur in the area because of it. So I think having to hold it to evac would smooth out the gameplay. Dinosaur Hunt features the same 3 maps split into 9 levels: Delphius Hills, the Great Forest, and Basmashi Rocks, all with day, dusk, and fog versions. And while I still don't like how the game splits 3 maps into 9 separate levels, the Pro license makes it a little more bearable. With the exception of the fog maps, all the locations are still gorgeous and fun to hunt in, especially the dusk maps, even if they're all still a bit lacking in any interesting lore or landmarks. I do wish there was a way to turn off the in-game music cues without turning off the main menu music too, because I really want to just immerse myself in the natural sounds of the world without getting jump scared by trumpets every few seconds. Strangely, Observer Mode has been completely cut from Dinosaur Hunt. Although it's not the worst loss in the world, Observer Mode has always been a staple of the Carnivore series. A way to watch the animals live their lives up close in their environments, get familiar with the landscape and the dinosaur behavior, and removing it just feels so unnecessary. Again, changes like these aren't the worst things in the world, but all of the older classic Carnivores games had them, so the fact that they're not in this newer, supposedly improved version is head-scratching. One of my favorite things to do in these reboots was to hop into Observer Mode and just watch the dinosaurs live, but I can't do that anymore, which is gonna make getting some beautiful natural screenshots of the dinosaurs very difficult to do. Again, as with most of these cuts, I hope this was just another time restriction and that Observer Mode and all of these missing features get added back in a future update. The same 6 huntable dinosaurs return: Stegosaurus, Ankylosaurus, Parasaurolophus, Ceratosaurus, Triceratops, Tyrannosaurus, and the flying ambient reptile Pteranodon. Strangely, Gallimimus and Pelecanomimus are not in the game at launch, although Digital Dreams have said that they are not scrapped and do plan to add them back at a later date. I really hope this is just because they were a bit rushed to get the game out, and they plan to add them back in a free update, instead of selling them back as DLC. I mean, that'd be Game Freak levels of scummy. Before it returns, I'd love to see the Pelecanomimus receive some kind of changes to its appearance. Even if it's just some simple model tweaks like giving it just a little crest or a throat pouch, that'd go a long way in making it feel like its own dinosaur instead of a reskinned Gallimimus. While the reboot dinosaurs are still gorgeous and near and dear to my heart, one of my biggest complaints with them has always been their pathfinding and AI. The reboot dinosaurs are notorious for getting stuck and sliding and rotating in place and running in circles and just being absolutely horrendous to hunt. Which makes me so glad to say that Dinosaur Hunt has completely fixed the dinosaur pathfinding, and it's wonderful. If a dinosaur is spooked or shot or aggressive, it starts running immediately, and if you're in the way, that's a you problem. No more spinning or sliding or rotating in place, just pure animal instinct, and it is great. The Carnivores also have terrifying new charge animations, where they just run at you at top speed, jaws open wide, and they're fantastic. My first encounter with a T-Rex in Dinosaur Hunt, I rounded a big boulder and it was just there, about 70 yards away from me. We locked eyes, it roared and charged right at me. I fumbled out my revolver and got eaten within seconds. There was no spinning, no getting stuck on the terrain, the thing just ran right at me and ate me. It was terrifying and perfect, and it's exactly what I've been wanting for the past 8 years. Hunting dinosaurs is fun again. That said, the dinosaurs do seem to be missing some features. They're a lot less vocal than they used to be. You no longer hear parasaur trumpets ringing through the jungles or ceratosaurs roaring off in the distance. The world feels quiet, and it's a bit difficult to track animals by sound. The dinosaurs are also missing their low health limping animations, which means sometimes I end up wasting shots because I can't tell how close the animal is to going down on its own. The reborn death animations do return, and thank God the Ceratosaurus has a proper one this time, but they're still very glitchy and out of sync and do need a lot of polish. The Stego and the Trike especially. Also, the Pteranodons finally land on the ground when shot out of the sky this time, and you can now hunt any dinosaur on any map thanks to the Pro license, which is worth the price of admission by itself in my opinion. The same 4 weapons return, the rifle, crossbow, sniper rifle, and revolver as a sidearm, each with its own little upgrade system. As usual, the weapons cover the basics very well. A general all-purpose rifle, a slow but silent and powerful crossbow, and the loud but long-range sniper, with the rapid-fire revolver if you find yourself suddenly staring into the jaws of a Ceratosaurus. The gunplay still feels super solid. It was great in the previous releases and not much has changed here. The shooting range returns, which is nice, but you can't use the rangefinder in it to see how far your shots are, which makes practicing there kinda pointless. The game also has several bugs, glitches, and other issues that I think need to be addressed. The weapon statistics currently use the dinosaur stats of sight, hearing, and smell. Several in-game sounds seem kinda delayed. When the player lowers the rangefinder, the animation plays, and then the sound effect plays after it's done. Once the hunter runs out of stamina, he starts panting and breathing heavily, which is good, but this time his heavy, loud breathing lasts for a good 10 seconds after, even if the player stops moving, which is really annoying. And several dinosaurs seem to leave their sounds behind when they move to a new area. I've watched drinking or sleeping dinosaurs get up and leave, and when I got to where they were, the drinking or sleeping sounds are still playing in that spot, but the dinosaur itself is long gone, which, again, makes hunting by sound very difficult. The Mist device also has a few bugs I've noticed. I can't zoom in or out on the minimap, and I can't scroll through the licensed dinosaurs with the dinosaur decoy. I can only just activate the first one I have selected. A few of the Mist upgrades like the display all dinosaurs and the decoy recharge perks don't seem to work either. I've also noticed in the trophy room that if you scroll past the Stegosaurus to another dinosaur, you can't scroll back to the Stego. It always stops at the Anky. There are also a few sloppy looking spelling mistakes as well. The Tyrannosaurus is still misspelled as Trex instead of T-Rex or T-Rex, or better yet, just Tyrannosaurus to match the other dinosaurs. Dino Hunt Corp is sometimes misspelled as just Dino Corp with a Y, which is really weird. And Delphius Hills is still misspelled as Delaphius Hills. Ultimately, although it does have its problems, I am still really enjoying Carnivores Dinosaur Hunt. It's a lot of fun, and I'm remaining optimistic about its future, that this is finally going to be the game that lives up to its potential. However, Carnivores fans are torn over the game, and understandably so. Whether or not to get it is a tough call to make right now, and it's one you guys are going to have to make for yourselves. The amount of new content and future updates Dinosaur Hunt gets is likely going to depend on how well the game sells, so we feel an obligation to support it for that. However, we've been told that before, and we've been burned on this game before, twice in fact. So we feel hesitant to spend more money on it when it might just end up the same as the last two. I know I feel like I've invested too much into this same game 3 times now over the past 8 years, and I'm ready for some change. I'm ready for this one to finally be the one. I sure hope it is. Alright, there you go guys, those are my thoughts on the newly released Carnivores Dinosaur Hunt. As long as Digital Dreams remains committed to this game, I will too. And another big thanks to them for providing me with my copy. I've got several videos planned for Dinosaur Hunt over the coming days and weeks, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss them. I think they're going to be a lot of fun. And be sure to let me know guys, what are your thoughts on Dinosaur Hunt? What do you hope to see added to the game in the future? And which platform are you playing on? Switch, PS4, Xbox One, or waiting for the Steam release at the end of the summer? Be sure to let me know down in the comment section below. Thanks as always for watching guys, you are all truly the best. And I will see you guys next time.